All right, we are right back after a break. We were talking about the signs of Allah Almighty's love. And we were talking about this aspect that when we perform any ibadah, any act of worship, whether it is Hajj, whether it is, offering Qurbani, this shows our love for Allah Almighty. And remember that one who loves Allah Almighty, who who fears Allah Almighty, both these things are required, then he will be having no fear of future, no fear of any problem in this world, because love of Allah and fear of Allah Almighty, both these things will become a strength. So as a believer, our strength is our connection and our strong relation with Allah Almighty and the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam. We read in the Holy Quran, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Say, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you people, you want Allah's love, you are seeking love for Allah Almighty, then you must obey me, Allah will love you. It means that in this world, the only way to find love of Allah Almighty is to obey the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And whoever obeys the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam, it means that he obeys Allah Almighty. He obeys the commands of Allah Almighty. So love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is also a sign of love for Allah Almighty. So this love is the strength of a believer. We see that human life, is a combination of various problems, day-to-day issues. But when such issues and such matters, any believer comes across these problems and issues, then at that time his connection and his relationship with Allah Almighty, that becomes his strength. And he deals with all problems and matters and issues with this power and with this, relationship with Allah Almighty and this strong connection. Now, when we look at the ibadah of Hajj, we see that Allah's zikr and the remembrance of Allah Almighty, zikrullah, is there everywhere in all the steps. We are engaged in zikrullah all the time during Hajj. We remember Allah Almighty, and even when we are performing the rites and rituals of Hajj, there is also a form of remembering Allah Almighty. When you are engaged in performing any act of worship, you are remembering Allah Almighty. So we read in the Holy Quran, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ, remember me and I'll remember you. Now just think about this aspect, that when you are remembered by Allah Almighty and you are having a strong bonding with Allah Almighty, then this will be serving as your strength. So what kind of problems, whatever problems and issues you face in your life, this strength and this relation with Allah Almighty will serve as a powerful resource for you for dealing with any sorts of issues or problems in your life. Now, when we look at the ibadah of Hajj, we also find that this ibadah is an entire system. This is, an organized way, if you look at it, that you are having different steps in this ibadah. You wear ihram, you perform, different rites and rituals of Hajj, and then you pray together, you show unity to the world, that you are one, no matter whatever background you have, whatever social or economic status you have, you are one. Why? Because all of us believe in Allah Almighty. So this faith, this belief in Allah Almighty, this serves as, a means for unity among the believers. And this unity, it has a wonderful color. And this is the message, a beautiful message that we give to the world, that we are united. We are having different backgrounds, but we are here one in one dress and, reciting the same thing, and we are remembering Allah Almighty. This shows that we are one, and the reason why we are one is that we all believe in Allah Almighty, we all love Allah Almighty, and we love His Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam. Now we also need to understand that love requires devotion. For example, there is a person who says that I love Allah Almighty, I have love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he does not, take ibadat and the acts of worship seriously. He does not, think about Hajj. He does not care about Qurbani, and he is not interested in understanding the, the Sharia and the Islamic law and Islamic knowledge. So it means that he's saying that he loves Allah Almighty, but he is not fulfilling the requirements of love for Allah, the requirements for love for the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So love for Allah and love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this demand that we should show this love into our actions. And the way we can show our love for Allah Almighty and our love for the Prophet ﷺ in our action is that we must obey the commandments of Sharia. We must, we must conform to the commandments of Sharia, and we should show in action that we really believe in Allah Almighty. We really believe in the Prophet ﷺ. When you look at, Hajj, you see that this is a combination of different ibadat. Salah is there, you are performing sajda, you are performing, you are doing lots of azkar. So different acts of worship are combined in this act of worship that is called Hajj. And there is also, a relationship between Hajj and Qurbani, and the relationship is that of sacrifice. When you are offering Qurbani, you are, offering sacrifice for Allah Almighty. You are, you following the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And when you are performing Hajj, sacrifice is also, there. You are sacrificing your time, and you are, spending money, and you are, utilizing you are consuming your energy. So sacrifice is there. You are away from your family members, sacrifice is there. Why? This sacrifice, this is the spirit, and this is the soul of the Islamic teachings. We must be ready to sacrifice anything for Allah Almighty, and for Islam, for this, for love of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam. And one thing we need to remember, and that is what we read in the hadith, wajada halawat al-iman, and then hadith goes further. So one has tasted the pleasure and the sweetness of faith who loves Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than all others, right? And then he is the one who loves any person for the sake of Allah Almighty, and he is the one who hates to go back to disbelief. And disbelief is a thing that he always seeks to avoid, and he does not want to go back to disbelief. He always wants to remain a believer till his death. So this kind of a believer is the one who has tasted the pleasure and sweetness of faith. Now what we learn here? We learn here that in the life of a believer, love for Allah Almighty and the Prophet ﷺ must be above all other kinds of love. Then we as a believer, we have good relations with with other beings for the sake of Allah Almighty, for pleasing Allah Almighty, and this is the culture that Islam spreads. So we are having a break right now. We'll be right back after a short break.